One is a USO. It's an unidentified submerged object, basically a UFO underwater. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing you two clips from Richard Dolan, who is a world-renowned UFO researcher. The first is a brand new clip on News Nation, Richard Dolan talking about USOs. The second clip is from Richard Dolan's own podcast discussing a case from 1965 in the Red Sea of a USO. Let's dive in, y'all. If you're new to the channel and you like content like this, please hit that subscribe button. I put out a new video every day, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. I do not miss a day, y'all. And please hit that like button, vetters. That really helps out the video. So thank y'all so much for the support there. And of course, comment down below. What do you think about this case from 1965 in the Red Sea? And guys, we're trying to hit 30,000 subscribers. So if you haven't already, please do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Try to get there before September. Let's go, y'all. All right. Let me play the first clip here. Again, Richard Dolan on News Nation talking about USOs.
If I say to you alien aircrafts, most of us think UFOs, right? And we think of space. But there's another area of phenomenon you may not have considered, and researchers have been diving in to study them. We're talking about USOs, unidentified submerged objects. There have been so many reports of underwater phenomenon that have recently sparked the federal government to change the name of UFOs to UAPs, unidentified anomalous phenomena, to include land, air, and sea. However, 80% of the world's ocean remains unexplored, making USOs harder to scientifically prove. Joining me now is Richard Dolan, a UAP historian and host of Richard Dolan Intelligent Disclosure on YouTube. Richard, good morning.
Hi, Nick. Thank you very much for having me here. It's a pleasure.
Help us break this down. You've researched more than 600 cases of unidentified submerged objects. What are some of the challenges you face with researching water-based phenomena and then getting that information to the public writ large?
Great question. Probably the biggest challenge is simply getting access to a lot of these reports. Most people are landlubbers. We live on the land. We're not out in the middle of the water. Unless you live on the shore of an ocean or of a large lake, you're going to be unlikely to see such water-based phenomenon. And so, you know, of all of the UFO or UAP reports that we have, only a small number are actually truly USO type reports, but they do come in. I've gone through some of the biggest databases that are publicly available. I've been given access to the MUFON case management system. I've gone through all of the cases on the National UFO Reporting Center. And there are a number of other databases that have been available to me that I've gone into. Been very grateful. Aside from that, just tons of journals, books, articles. I scour them where I can. So at this point, I've collected a little more than 600 very good, I would say extremely good cases that I have a feeling people will be interested in learning more about.
Tell me about one or two of the most fascinating ones that you've researched.
Yeah. Well, about 20% of all of the cases I found have to do with one of the nation's military, one of the world's militaries. Most of those are United States military. By far, most of the ones that I've collected. And I can say, you know, when we hear the folks at the Pentagon say things like, well, we're going to look into this problem. We'll get back to you when we find out more about it. When I look at some of these Navy cases, there is no chance whatsoever that the higher upper echelon at the Pentagon and the Navy do not know. One example, there was a case from 1971. It goes back a bit. We've got many more recent cases, but this one from 1971 involved the USS John F. Kennedy aircraft carrier. In July of that year, we have a very detailed account from a gentleman who was aboard that ship, ran communications, and described just after they had finished a very intensive period of training called carrier qualifications, or CARQUALs. They were in the Caribbean, and they saw this massive orange glowing spherical object that hovered above the ship. And according to what he said, shut down their communications for a good 20-25 minutes while the ship went to general quarters, battle stations. I would say if you're the United States Navy, there's probably nothing more important to you than your aircraft carriers,
Absolutely.
which have nuclear weapons. And anything that shuts it down even for 20 minutes has got to be of the highest level. That is not the only such case. There are many of them. A few of them from the old Soviet Navy as well, but quite a few from the United States
Richard
Navy.
Dolan, I got to go, but I want you to give me that website one more time.
Well, I have a YouTube channel called Richard Dolan Intelligent Disclosure. People can check me out on the web at richarddolanmembers.com.
Richard Dolan, thank you so much, sir.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to join in.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Just kidding. We all got to say stuff like that. All right. Richard Dolan, so cool. Okay, so links in the description. This video right here, the full link, that's over an hour long, has like 10 different cases in it. It's such an awesome podcast. So I recommend checking out this whole video if you want to look into some other UFO cases underwater, USOs, right? But I focused on one in particular, which he calls Case 5, the Red Sea, 1965. Let's listen.
Here's another Soviet account from the 1960s, August of 1965. We do not have the exact date here, from the Red Sea. Let's get into it. This has been reported in many databases. This is not a tough one to find. Deals with the Soviet steamship named Raduga. We don't know where in the Red Sea this was.
Raduga.
So I just put the dot right in the middle. It could be anywhere in the Red Sea. Don't know. What we know is that at about a distance of 2 miles from the ship, they saw a fiery sphere emerge from under the water and hover over the surface of the sea, clearly illuminating the water, we are told. It was quite large, about 60 meters in diameter. It's about 200 feet in diameter. Visualize that for a second. That's very, very large. And it hovered above the water fairly low, a distance of about 150 meters or 500 feet above the water. So it's actually really quite large and quite low over the water. They're looking at it from a distance of 2 miles, and they are seeing a gigantic pillar of water come upward toward the sphere, but only as it came up out of the water. So as it's emerging from the water, it's as if it's pulling up this massive column of water out of the sea, and then that column collapsed just like a second or two later, apparently. As I mentioned here, this observation was discussed in a number of Soviet publications. I never was able to figure out how the sighting ended. Like, did the sphere fly off somewhere? Did it go back into the water? Did it disappear? We don't know. That is the story. Let's keep going here. Here's another one from the 1960s off the coast of South America from July 20th, 1967. I like this. This is a really interesting case. Here's where approaching it on Google Earth, right off the I think like about 100 miles off the coast there. And this is the Naviero. This is an Argentine ship, part of the Argentine Shipping Lines Company. So I think they're going north. It's shortly before sunset. It's at 6:15 p.m. And the captain and the crew see this, what they describe as a strange, shining object. It's bright. It's pacing them in the water for about 15 minutes, not more than 50 feet away to the right of the ship. Again, I would ask you to visualize that. That's very close, very close. You're out in the middle of the water, nothing but ocean, like 100 miles all around, wherever you go, and you've got this thing pacing you. It was cigar-shaped. They estimated to be a little more than 100 feet in length. They noticed powerful blue and white glow to it. No noise, no wake in the water. It's I always find these significant. No sign of anything sticking out of this thing at all. It was a totally smooth structure. No periscope, no tower, nothing like that. The captain said it was actually going at a pretty good clip. They were going at a speed of 17 knots. This thing was going up to 25 knots. It's still within the range, obviously, of an ocean-going vessel, but this was... So we continue here. The craft then suddenly dives under the ship. So it was above the ship. It dives under the ship, and it goes right underneath them and vanishes rapidly into the depths, according to the captain, at great speed, whatever that speed is. And they notice it glowing for a while as it goes beneath the water. So this actually made it to the newspapers. The captain says to the press in 20 years, he's never seen anything like it. The chief officer said, this was not a whale. This was not a submarine, at least not any conventional submarine that I've ever known about. He said it looked totally different from either of those. In fact, he said, could not possibly have been either of these things. That's a quote. This was covered in a number of publications back at the time. So very interesting cases. I thought about, do I want to talk about the famous Shag Harbor case off in Nova Scotia? A lot of people know about that. I'm not talking about that this time. Maybe we'll come back to it. I will mention I've discussed these and many, many more of these USO cases on my website at Richard Dolan Members. If you're a member of my site and you're watching this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I've done probably about 10 such videos, covered a lot of these cases. And we did talked a lot about Shag Harbor there. But let's.
All right, there you go. So, again, links in the description. Go check it out. Little bonus case there at the end. I just let them keep going because that one in Argentina is quite fascinating. Right. They're all interesting, right, when you hear about some of these USO cases. But did you hear that News Nation interview, Richard Dolan? 600 USO cases he's looking into? Think how many, he hasn't heard about or that haven't been reported or whatever, right? That's fascinating, to be honest with you. So, I don't know. What do y'all think? USOs, they kind of come in and out of the UFO community. But, I mean, it's basically just another UFO sighting, right? Just includes another medium, right, being water. So, I don't know, right? Fascinating. And Shag Harbor's probably the most famous of them all, I think, maybe. But regardless. All right. Let me know what y'all think. Links in the description. And check it out for yourself. We'll see you guys on tomorrow's video. Remember, every day's a gift, y'all.